favorite action figure were G.I. Joe and Cobra in the same time. When I was a kid, I watched the cartoon, they were very happy. But my favorite wife was Sartan and the Dreadnoughts. And today is my number 50 of my episode of my show. And I have an awesome pleasure to have my show. The best, yes, the best Hasbro team, composed by the beautiful Emily and the amazing artist Lenny. And so, guys, welcome to the show.
That was amazing.
That was so good. I feel like that just really kind of reset the bar for every interview we will ever do in the future now. Like, if we're not getting sung to, no thank you.
Awesome.
You got
so
chops. That was awesome.
Yeah.
This is my
That was
skills
beautiful.
because actually in my life, I'm a YouTuber, a collector, but also a musician, a writer. So the art is my life, guys.
Oh, it's beautiful, man.
That
I
was
can
wonderful.
tell. Oh my God. And I love your background too. Like it's
I think
awesome.
you are familiar with this background.
A little bit. Yeah. Dude, that playing was beautiful. Thank you for that. That was cool.
Thank you so much to be in my show. To be is my honor because I follow every your show. So it looks like to have the top star of the average team. I'm very happy. And I want to start with this. I want to talk about character choices because we saw in the last your stream many new reveals about J. Joe classified like Zorana, Dusty, Crimson Guard, the Python Viper. Especially, I'm very happy for Dr. Mindbender because it looks like finally we have the Doctor's Frankenstein in the Cobra. Because without this guy, we can have a mean guy like Serpentor. Very happy to this one. But for question, who made the character choice? How works that? When you are ready to schedule the new wave, the new figures, what is the rules to have a perfect wave with a perfect balance in the wave?
So Alan, you broke up a little bit, but from what I understand, you're asking like, what is the kind of the what's the sauce? Like, what's the ingredients to pick the wave for the characters?
Exactly. Yes.
So for the waves that we just showed, because it's the 40th anniversary, we're like, we need to get some classic characters in there and some more lineage characters. Also, you'll notice in the design choices too, we kept it a little more real American hero, and that's kind of intentional, right? Because it's the 40th anniversary, so we wanted to like pay homage to that a little bit more so. So from a wave kind of secret sauce kind of standpoint, what I like to do is I like to mix and match a breadth of character. So like for every military character, there's sci-fi or other particular mission kind of character. So we're not doing all the same note in the wave, if you will, right? Because we kind of want to option in there. So your cup of tea might not be military, but it might be sci-fi or so forth and so on. So it's kind of like, how do you mix and match? But particularly for the 40th anniversary show, we were trying to get characters that were like really resonated with the real American hero fan. So it's kind of the secret sauce. And sometimes it's like, what would look cool, right? Like, how could we kind of like mix and match some things or update some stuff? And what characters are ready for that? A lot of times, I want to do all the dreadnoughts, or I want to make my road pig, or like Shadow Tracker or something like that, but it's just not time yet, right? So it's like we got to have restraint, which is kind of a bummer. But then at the same time, it kind of helps us narrow it down a little bit more.
And I think it also, we've talked about this, but we really love the storytelling aspect of G.I. Joe, and we love the idea of the Joes versus the Cobras and that conflict that's really like at the center of this universe. And so we like to try to mix it up so that you don't necessarily always get all Joes or all Cobras in a wave, so that we really can kind of create that story, which I think helps to translate to shelves. And I mean, it's always really fun to see a mix of characters that are out.
Awesome. I saw right now the beautiful mug of Lenny is better than mine. It's beautiful.
Yeah, Lenny wins for mugs today.
My wife got me this mug. She knows me all too well.
Wow, where is this? I want this mug now for my show. It's so
I'll
beautiful.
ask her. I'll email you to see where she got it. But it's
Okay.
very metal, and I love every bit. It's like it's a Viking skeleton, which I mean,
Beautiful.
hell
The
yeah.
first time they see something like that, really cool.
Well, I'm glad you like it.
Imagine maybe in the future have a mug of the GI Joe, one of the head of one of the characters. Should be a nice
Mm,
idea.
Oh, Cobra Commander mug with a mirror on it would be awesome.
yeah, that would be fun.
Also,
We have the cups that we've been using are I don't know if you saw them in the PulseCon stream, but they're called Geeky Tikis. So they're tiki mugs, but they're like nerd tiki mugs, basically. So we all had Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes tiki mugs, which were really fun. And I made all of the boys use silly straws with them to, really add to the seriousness of our brand.
Yes, very serious brand.
super cool. And back to the last reviews about Classified. There is some update about the pre-order of these guys or not yet?
No, for the ones that we just did the digital only reveals, no updates yet. So in the future, we promise they will be pre-ordered. So it will not be you don't have to worry that they won't be pre-ordered. They will, but it'll be a secret and in the future.
Okay, cool. And now back to the Classified in general, because this amazing line was born actually 2 years ago, 2020. And tell me something about the beginning. What is the idea and also the philosophies behind this line in the beginning?
Oh wow! So it was funny. It was at a time where my previous life was Transformers, and I had been looking for another avenue to explore it from a toy design standpoint. So I was talking with my manager at the time, and he was like, "Hey, you want to explore some of Hasbro's brands?" And I was like, "Yes, I do, and I know one in particular I would really like to explore." So what we did was we got to the drawing board and we just did a lot of sketches and a lot of designs of what G.I. Joe could look like in 2020 at the time. I believe it was like 2019, maybe 2018. So we were basically doing a lot of sketches of what the characters could be for like the kid today. Essentially, we weren't focusing on collector at the time. We were focusing more on how do you get a new age of kid into G.I. Joe like we were when we were younger, right? So we were looking at, I remember I made this map, and the map had every movie that came out in correlation to every year of G.I. Joe. So like Mad Max, year later, the Dreadnoughts. We were looking at like all that, like kind of like trend mapping. And G.I. Joe is such a fashion brand, right? It's like what's trending, what's hot, and that's what's so fun about it too, because like you can look at like what are the camouflage patterns for the year and try to iterate that into the brand. And we did a lot of like skunk works, ground floor, just design of what could be really cool for the new generation of G.I. Joe fans. Then as it started developing, we're like, you know what is perfect for G.I. Joe? The 6-inch 1/12 scale, because we can get super detailed. And the one thing about G.I. Joe that always stands true was like the top-notch action figure of the time, articulation-wise, price-wise, accessory-wise, detail-wise. So we went all in. And that's where the updated designs were born, actually, because they resonated really well. And they feel like detailed. And when I was a kid and I looked at an action figure, for me, it was like I'd pick it up and I'd like look at like every little stinking detail about it and try to wonder what those details did. And we try to iterate that into the characters. And when we design a character too, it's like every scribe line has a reason. Every deco hit has a reason. Like we're trying to tell a story visually with every character. So I think with all those crazy sketches in mind, I think we did every character like maybe 5 or 10 times. But you know, we eventually landed on it. So, and we landed on this like kind of like future tech mission at the time. And then as you guys have heard in probably other interviews, we've talked about like, you're going to see them in other iterations. Like we're going to try to do every character in multiple iterations of their mission, because it's G.I. Joe's all about going on missions, right? And updating what the characters can use, what kind of weapons they can use, what kind of gear they can use. I mean, the kind of sky's the limit with G.I. Joe, and that's why I've always loved it. And that's why I'm so excited to be part of it now. So, yeah, I think I hope that answered it. I kind of rambled after a while, but I think it
And
kind
as an extra note from a marketing perspective, we have realized that basically over the years, about every 20 years, GI Joe reinvents itself.
yes.
And I think that that's a really cool kind of milestone for the brand to be able to say, okay, we are acknowledging that about, every 20 years, there needs to be an update in order to keep this brand relevant. So, you started with the 12-inch figures in 1964, I think. Somebody will tell me if I'm wrong, but that focused on, kind of branches of the armed forces. They weren't necessarily named characters with the backstories. Then in 82, we transitioned to the Real American Hero era. In 2002-ish, 2004, we transitioned to what we lovingly refer to as the modern era retro figures, those 4-inch ones that were a little taller. And then 2020, we have classified. And so I think it's really cool that, like Lenny was saying, we truly kind of evolve with the times, and we try to capitalize on whatever the trends are of like the current market. And I saw a question in the chat that asked if we would be, reaching to all eras of GI Joes, and absolutely. So we are truly in future line planning, looking to all of those different eras of Joes, and there are so many sub teams to pull from, and so many different adventures that these characters have gone on. There are, the international releases that never made it to the US that would be really, really cool. We saw that in the Sky Striker, where our Scarlet figure is an homage to Glenda, who was her South American counterpart, Lenny.
Yep.
I got that. But I think that it's really cool to be on a brand that is so willing to continue to take risks and kind of embrace what is currently happening while still having really kind of the roots, kind of the family tree, if you will, of Real American Hero that we kind of get to pull from and elevate for the modern age.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. It's like one of our core tenets was always like going forward. Don't live too much in the past. Celebrate the past when it's time to celebrate the past. But how do we push the brand forward and almost like strike that wonder with people? Like when I was a kid, I like my being in awe of figures and looking at the details kind of like sparked me to want to be a designer. And I think toys in general create that creative spark for a lot of people. So it's like, how can we do that again? And how do we contribute back to future kids, collectors, and all that? And that's why, pushing the designs forward and kind of like broadening the brand as much as we can go. So
awesome. I love all the passion that I feel behind your words. It's super cool that because as an artist, every day I do only something that I love. So I understand your feelings, and also behind your passion, the creativity, because also in the marketing side, you need to be creative to do a perfect way to schedule everything, no? And for the design side, obviously, I feel your creativity when you talk, Lenny, about the story about the beginning of this line and the exciting stuff behind that also, because obviously the J. Joe is the baby of Hasbro, and also you have also a big responsibility about that, because you have the baby in your hands.
Yeah.
And this comes out beautiful, because remember when you saw the first time the promo of the classified, I remember I thought, oh my God, this is for me. I can't stay away for this stuff. So it's time to put some money, because this type of figures, first time ever in the J. Joe line, that was my favorite. And as a kid, wow, this beautiful discover all works behind to create, to build this new update, because this new update of the line is beautiful, so beautiful.
Thank you.
So,
that means a lot.
As an artist, I feel that also, because for both, I feel creativity, and this is important, because the creativity is the better way to have an open mind and to have a life a little bit easier, because the art get that. And also because collecting toys is not just like collecting toys, but if you're an artist, especially, you understand the art behind the figures.
Yes.
And the art, also the art to do to the packaging choice, because I love the idea to numbers the package. It's good, because maybe if you miss something, you miss that. I like also this idea behind it. It's really cool. But I want to talk with you also about the crossover, because we saw a crossover in the last ring about the Megatron East Tank with Baroness.
So cool. Yeah.
the idea? How start this idea?
So that was born, I think, through the Transformers team wanted to really push for it, and we were like, yes. And I mean, I remember being on Transformers, and we would talk about it all the time. My boss Michelino at the time would be like, "Whoa, we need to do this like now." And like we were saying earlier, patience, right? You got to like wait for the right time to do stuff. Which, as a designer who likes this stuff, it's hard. But when the opportunity comes, you seize it. And the opportunity came, and it's like, oh yeah, we got to do Megatron as a his tank. And Transformers team came to us, and we're like, well, we got to do 3 3/4 inch. I mean, like it's been waiting for 40 years to do this, so that's why we went the 3 3/4 inch route. And from a character standpoint, it had to be Baroness. A lot of people are like Destro. He Mars invented the his tanks, but we're like, no, it's Megatron, assuming he scanned a his tank, right? So he's like, this is an optimal vehicle for me to wear, to be, transforming into. Who would I allow to actually pilot with me? Because Megatron, if you guys remember, Megatron thinks humans are bugs. Like he does not like humans. But Baroness is so intelligent, so ruthless, so cunning that he's like, okay, you and I can work together. So that was kind of part of the choice there. So a lot of that storytelling again comes back there. So like we're paying attention to those little details because we could have put Destro in there. Sure, yeah, all right, Destro or Mindbender or somebody. But like Baroness is the character that he would accept. So there it is. But yeah, so basically, I think it was really the Transformers marketing team. Emily, do you want to dive in more on that, or?
Yeah, and we were, like Lenny was saying, we were so excited. It is, as many of you know, it is the first actually converting Transformers G.I. Joe toy, which is so exciting. And to be able, the first time we saw it, we were like, oh, okay, it's a his tank. And then when it started actually coming apart, we're like, oh, this is so cool. And I think that that's one of the really special things is, we spend so much of our lives looking at toys. And so to have those moments when we're looking at things and we go, oh my God, this is so cool. Like we know that that means that we are really on to something, which to be fair, we do quite a bit. I feel like we get really excited about the products that we're doing, which it means that we think that you guys will be excited about them too. But Hasbro is also a really cool place in that, we have so many amazing teams, and all of the action brands teams, they're kind of doing the 6-inch figures, all kind of sit in 2 of the same areas together at work. And so when we're there, we're kind of showing to other teams what we're doing, and they're going, oh my God, this is so cool. Check out this thing that we're doing. And so it's really fun to kind of be able to feed off of that positive energy, or they'll say, oh, we tried something that would allow you to do this and this with this process. Have you considered? We're like, oh my God, no, that would make this so cool. And so Hasbro to me feels like a really collaborative environment full of very smart humans that are, and I don't know if I feel like I've mentioned this somewhere else before, but we're all nerds, but we're different kinds of nerds. And so we bring all of these like facets of nerddom in together, which is really fun. It's complementary types of nerds, I feel. Lenny, did I feel like that?
I think you nailed it. I mean, like Dwight and I mean, you guys know the Marvel Legends team. Dwight and I chat about stuff all the time. We'll shoot stuff back and forth to each other. And like across the, like Tony, like when we get sculpts in, we like shooting them back and forth to each other. Like we want to do the best job we can do possible strategically at the same time. So like not only is it a business art combination, but it's like we're also dorks and we know we got to get it right. And we have quite the responsibility to get it right. So, the collaboration really helps.
And I feel like it also helps, like our entire G.I. Joe team is so amazing. Like it is full of such great humans that are all kind of working together for the greater good of the brand. And we're all excited about things. And so it really helps when we all get into a room together too. We're like, this is what we're doing next. This is so cool. Mm-hmm. So we are very, very lucky to work on such a wonderful team with wonderful humans. We're very lucky.
Yes, I believe I understand again, because when an artist every time everybody they can do a job that he loves is a lucky person. So yes. I understand that. Also because it's creative in every side of this job. Also do a marketing is, to me, it's impossible to be marketing for everything. I'm just an artist, but Also in the marketing side, you need to be creative to do something that works. I think is a big effort and important help for this for everything about the art. So I understand. I feel the passion. I saw also many comments and some guys they put also the super chat. So guys, subscribe the channel. But for example, this comment is really nice for you both about the appreciate your job.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you.
That's awesome.
So
Thank you.
thank you guys to enjoy this the show. I'll talk about with the fans to enjoy the show. Don't forget to subscribe the channel and support the channel. If you want more of this stuff of this awesome show, subscribe. But now back on track, and I will talk with you about also a little bit about the O-ring line. Tell me something. Also the idea behind that.
I think the idea is to really, we're going into the 40th anniversary, or we kicked off the 40th anniversary a couple weeks ago. Thank you to everybody for tuning in and watching us ramble for 2 hours. We seriously had no idea we were going to talk that long. We hadn't we'd done pieces of it in rehearsal before, but we'd never strung it all together. And so when we finished, somebody was like, "Do you guys know that pre-orders are launching in 7 minutes?" Like, oh no. Yeah. We did a poor job of looking at our watches as we were going through. But I think that as Lenny mentioned, for the classified inspiration for the 40th anniversary year, we really wanted to lean into the things that are uniquely G.I. Joe and uniquely something from Real American Hero. And so bringing back the O-rings were kind of a no-brainer for us in that, it is a celebration of Real American Hero era. And for a lot of people, when they think of G.I. Joes, those are the toys that they think of. And so to be able to bring those back, especially some of those figures that people may have a hard time getting now, was really cool. It's been really special. Yeah, and I apologize. We're going to have a special visitor. This is Professor Waffles.
Oh, hello, Waffles. I think part of the design language, too, on the O-ring line is like to recreate what we had as kids. Right? Like a lot of us, like, oh, my O-rings are missing their O-rings or broken. Or when I was a kid, I would open them up and I would mix and match and I would make my own Joes. So I think a lot of us did that. So a lot of us don't have our Joes, and sometimes it could be expensive aftermarket. So the idea is, how can we recreate them and get them back in people's hands? So it's kind of fun to do that. It's hard and not hard at the same time to do it because there's a love for it. And then when you get it in hand, you're like, this nostalgia bomb like hits you. But then the process of getting all the details right, because we know people are looking at every single detail because we are too. Yeah. And then sometimes, things get lost in production, or like because the times are different and we can't mold that way anymore. This material, like in the case of Zartan, the color change, that's toxic now. So there's certain things, well, not toxic. It doesn't work the way it would back in the day. So, there's little details that we got to get right. So we know we need to get it right and to get those old school things back to people because, we all lost them or want them again or want a new, brand new version of it. So it's kind of fun to recreate it all and, go down memory lane a little bit and, go into the Hasbro archives, which I'm sure you guys saw some of those pictures on Instagram, though, man, it was like amazing.
The archives are this very, very magical place. And I feel like even though like I've been there a couple of times at this point, every time I walk around, I'm just like, oh my God, there's one of these and there's one of these and there's one of these are my personal favorite thing. So it's this fairly large building and there's lots of rows of things and you can get a little bit lost. And one of the things that I use as kind of a placeholder of where I am in the building is this box that's on the end of an aisle and it's called the Daddy Saddle. I think from the 50s, and it is basically when children are riding their dads around the house like a pony, it's a saddle to put on your dad to ride around. And you cannot find it on eBay. I have found one picture of it on the internet and it is beautiful. It brings me great joy, whatever. I would really like to own one to put it up on my toy shelf. I just feel like it's hilarious.
Awesome.
Sorry, that was a tangent about the daddy saddle. Please, Lenny.
Oh, I don't know. Next question.
The next question is about the design choice. When you decide to put a character in the line, you do different version of him, different version about the design, and you discuss about that. Always about it, about the design.
Oh, yeah. So it's basically based on the mission or the theme for the year. So with Stalker coming in, we kept him pretty classic, but he was going into classified, so we darkened the colors up to make him a little more gritty. We felt the original O-ring color was maybe a little too olive or yellow, so it might have not looked right in the classified collection as it was. But we needed Stalker, and we needed Stalker to look pretty classic based on the 40th anniversary celebration. From a standpoint of like Duke, like when we first revealed the characters, we were going into like this like kind of more tech mission, hence the Joe Pros, which I think the Fwoosh coined, and I absolutely love that
The
terminology.
Joe Pros.
Yeah, the comm on their shoulder pad, which by the way, the comm, I can't do it in toy, but the idea is that it projects out topographical maps and stuff like that for them in front
Oh,
of them,
cool.
and they can speak into it. So that was the whole idea behind the Joe Pros. But they were going into a new mission in 2020 at the time, and they were trying to find out who it was, and they didn't know who it was, so they went in there with high-tech weapons and stuff like that. And then go, lo and behold, they find Mars barrels, and like, good thing we came in here with high-tech weapons and such. So essentially, it's like based on the mission or the story for the wave, the story for the program. Like, you notice with the Tiger Force and Python Patrol, they stayed very classic because of the story there. So it really depends on what we are, lack of a better word, kind of like what we're trying to get across to the consumer visually, because we don't have a lot of content. So we don't have a commercial, we don't have a cartoon, we don't have a movie per se for the particular waves. So it's like we really got to make those characters read aesthetically and to make your imagination travel.
Okay. There is a lot. I saw some question. Okay. And is the last question. Last question is an easy question for you. Maybe easy. Tell me what is your favorite character of the line and why?
Emily, you want to go first? Because I've been yapping.
Ooh, ooh. I think the character that I had the biggest like wow moment when I saw was Mindbender. So we've gotten in early samples of him, and he looks so cool in real life. And he is, what's the word Lenny likes to use? Blastitious. Like he looks so ridiculous. And like his O-ring figure looked ridiculous. He looked ridiculous in the cartoons. But when you see him in 6-inch form, you just go, this dude is absolutely ridiculous. And we started doing kind of the diorama pictures for him that we're going to be using in a PDP or for our pre-order pages online. And I can't tell you exactly what there is about like the background, but it is one of the most involved sets I have ever seen created at Hasbro for pictures of a single figure. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
Our photographer Rachel did it, and it is it's pretty glorious, and I'm really, really excited to get to share with you guys.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
For me, I really like the face sculpt on Stalker. He looks so badass. But I love Spirit. I think Spirit is my favorite, just because he looks so like he's going in. Every photo shoot, every photographer that shoots him can pose him, and no matter what pose you put him in, he looks badass. All of his gear. I mean, Freedom was quite the sculpture to have to create, especially given the parts and pieces and our cost structures and stuff like that. His weaponry, we got to update him. He just sings to me. You know, he's awesome. And if you know anything about Spirit, he's got that sardonic sense of humor. So him having that serious look is kind of like such a great throw off of who the character is. So yeah, I think Spirit is my favorite.
It's beautiful, Spirit. I agree with you. And now it's time to say goodbye. I hope to have you back in the future after another reveal. And I play the piano to say goodbye, obviously, guys. Thanks for watching, my friends, and don't forget to subscribe the channel for more show and more episodes. and for future episode with the Hasbro G.I. team. And thank you, Emily, and thank you, Lenny, for your awesome passion. Thank you guys to enjoy the show. Such a great honor and good work to awesome new figures. And I hope to have you back really soon when comes out other new stuff from you guys.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
having us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much. Bye bye, everyone. Bye bye to all of you guys. Bye bye.
Bye.